Hello and welcome, friend, to the Spooky Chris podcast. My name is Chris Ringler. I'm an author, event coordinator, I guess, artist, filmmaker, ne'er-do-well. And this is Halloween. Hi, it's Halloween 2023. Nice to see ya. Welcome back. It's great to be seen. So as has been my general kind of modus operandi, I wrote a new Halloween story. Hopefully you enjoyed the other story I posted recently that I kind of just made up out of thin air. I had a thought about it, and I made it out of whole cloth and kind of just went with my gut, and it was fun to do a story like that. It's a fun kind of exercise to see if you can make up a story on the fly. And I did. And it was pretty okay. So, being it is Halloween and you are here, I have a story for you. This is the Spooky Chris podcast. Hopefully you found me at spookychris.com, where you can find all of my books and podcasts and everything else. You can find links to the Flint Monster Society, my little event organization, I guess. By the time this is out in the world, I will have had my second film festival with it. So hope you are having a great Halloween season, because it is a season, it's not a day. But let's get to it. This is a story I call Gourd. As the sun was swallowed by the clouds of dusk, Gordon stepped outside of the rusty gate. Beyond the iron lay the abandoned pumpkin patch at the edge of his small town. It was far enough outside of the town of Persimmon that unless you slowed down, it would just look like a blur of orange and a sea of brown. Gordon knew what it was, though. It had been there since he was a kid, and since well before that. It was as if it had always been there. He hated it here. Always had since that night. But here he was. Here he was, like always. He looked around and saw no one. Far off in the distance, he heard the first of the night's calls. Trick or treat! It had been a long time since he'd heard those words. He nodded to himself and looked into the pumpkin patch and saw that the ground fog was starting to gather, and then nodded to himself once more. He waited a few minutes then, but knew he had to go in. He could only put off the inevitable for so long. He slowly hauled himself over a low spot along the rusted fence that bordered the patch, and as soon as his feet hit the path, the fog parted and showed him the way forward. He looked around and began walking slowly down the path ahead. The last of the children's calls faded away as the fog closed in behind him and opened ahead, guiding him to where he needed to go. Ahead of him, the ground was muddy and dipped, pockmarked by the cruelty of erosion. Much of the path was overgrown with weeds, but there was enough of the dirt left to see the way forward with the fog snaking through it. Around him, the field was overgrown with thick weeds and misshapen pumpkins. The deeper in, the stranger they became, bulbous, malformed, and rotting prematurely. The closer he got to his destination, the more the rot had set in, until he reached a spot where nothing grew but a single round orange pumpkin with a smiling face carved into it. There was no sound here, no wind, no insects, no distant children singing for candy in the autumn night. He was alone save for his thoughts. The sun had fallen, but as soon as it had, a faint orange glow had arisen in the patch from the pumpkins. Not enough to brighten it, but enough to cast long, grim shadows that leaped and played. His hands were shaking as he reached his usual spot, and he waited. He wiped both hands on his dirty pants and mumbled a prayer to no one in particular. The sheet he wore as a ghost costume made it hard to see, and he felt like something was near, something he couldn't quite catch but could feel close by. He nodded to himself once more and then looked around and saw that there were shadows in the dim glow of the pumpkins that hid among the tall weeds and seemed to be waiting for him to do something. He wasn't sure of the time, but it had to be close to 10 o'clock. Had to be. He spoke. Evelyn, you there? There was no response. He wiped his hands on his pants beneath the sheet once more, though there was no moisture there to remove, another habit he hadn't broken over the years. Ev, I'm here. I'm here. Gordon's here. He said as if she wouldn't know him, as if someone else was coming, but there was no one else. Just him. Just him, always him. Her ghost. Always a ghost. He'd always be a ghost. She'd know him. His feet moved around in the mud, and he looked down at the dirty sheet. Ev, it's Gordon. I'm here. Still nothing. He looked around, and the shadows moved. He turned back, and the jack-o'-lantern he was standing before was now illuminated with pale blue light. Hi, Ev. Happy Halloween. He knew what to say. He just didn't want to. He let out a long sigh. I'm sorry, Ev. I'm really sorry. You know that, right? You know I'm sorry. After all this time, you have to know. You have to. Christ almighty, am I sorry. He kicked the ground and a pebble rolled towards the jack-o'-lantern. It flared a bright blue, then dimmed again. I found this for you. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a crushed candy bar he'd found in the ditch nearby. He moved to take a step forward to put it in front of the jack-o'-lantern, but the pumpkin lit up again with an intense blue light, so he stayed where he was and tossed it forward. The light didn't dim this time. I don't know what you want from me, Ev. I just don't know. I don't know what I can do. It was an accident. An accident. You know that. You have to know that. I couldn't have known. Could I? I mean, it got us both. Behind and around him, the patch rustled, the fog thickened, and the light from the surrounding pumpkins dimmed. Damn it, Ev! What do you want from me? I mean, I haven't... He hesitated. He shouldn't say it. He knew he shouldn't. But this had gone on too long. Haven't you taken enough from me? Ain't we even Steven yet? The jack-o'-lantern seemed to vibrate from the burning blue light within, and its widely carved smile looked hideous and knowing. The ground beneath him shook a little, and the weeds and stalks of dead corn rocked back and forth. How long? How long do you want me here? How long are you gonna keep me here? Trapped. Crap, Ev. We both got it. But... You know, I know it. It was my fault. I know it. What can I do, though? What can I do now? I loved you. I never would have hurt you. We're both... He let out a long sigh. He raised both arms and the blue light shone through him and into the field behind him. It was my fault. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But it's been so long. So long. I don't even remember my family anymore. Mom, Dad, Buddy. I don't even remember their faces, Ev. Do you remember your ma's? When can we rest? When are you going to let us rest? The light from the other pumpkin dimmed and faded and was gone. From the other pumpkins, he was alone with her now. Alone with Evelyn. The girl he swore he'd marry when they were in 2nd grade. The first and only girl he kissed. And that was in the 4th grade. The person he spent nearly every day with, and certainly every Halloween with, since they had met in kindergarten. And it seemed he'd spend the rest of time with her, he figured. He shook his head slowly. How long had it been? He tried to think of another time, but couldn't. He didn't even really perceive this time. He was trapped in perpetual almost, where he almost remembered the people he loved, almost remembered those days, and almost could be there in his mind. Almost, but not quite. His family, his friends were less than ghosts to him. Far less. And the same with this time. He could almost tell what year it was. Almost, but not quite. He was dim. That was how he saw it. Dim. He wandered the side of the road and fields around where Ev was, tethered here, waiting for Halloween, for his time to be summoned, pulled by her and made visible again for these brief moments. Still in the same dirty and bloody ghost costume. Still here. Always here. He let out a long sigh. Can I go, Ev? Just let me go. If not from here, from you. Let me go, wherever that may be. Please. Please. He had loved her as much as a 10-year-old kid can ever love a girl. He loved her. And he just wanted to be away now. Far, far away. Even if he was never with his family, at least he wouldn't be here. He let out another sigh. The light went out in the jack-o'-lantern. He wanted to cry but couldn't. He felt her behind him, close. He hadn't seen her in all these years. Was afraid to see her, see what she'd become, what her hate had made her. She leaned in close, and he felt her beside his ear and looked down and saw a faintly glowing hand that was more skeleton than flesh wrapped around his own, though the two hands didn't touch. No.